Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions. It's time once again, Thursday night. You know what that means. It's the Washington DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League, round 4 of 2026 season 1 here at Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari, or just Imola. It is a historic track which has a fantastic opportunity for great racing the whole way round. Tight chicanes, hard curbs. It's going to be fun with this multi-class setup with the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup and the Toyota GR86 Cup. 30 minutes of racing ahead of us, and bringing it to you all live is myself, Reese Gardner, with Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box. Zippy, we do like Imola. It's provided some of our best material on this channel, I think. It's always been a fun time.
It absolutely has, Reese, and certainly myself. It is on the Princess-approved track list. Not only that, we've got the 911 Cup car, definitely a car that I've enjoyed since its update here on the iRacing service as well. Certainly the GR86, not something I've really connected with, but providing some absolutely phenomenal racing here with WDCR SCCA iRacing League. But certainly, before we get too excited, Reese, let's take a look at indeed where we've been and where we're going.
Absolutely. Started off the season in January at Road Atlanta. Summit Point, that was a super chaotic one, a tight and short track with that many cars. It was ridiculous, especially the battle for the GR86 win. Hungaroring last round, we're here at Imola. Skipping forward a couple of rounds to round 6, we go to Aragon, and then Motorsport, Laguna Seca, Donington Park, VIR, and then rounding things off with another special event, the first of which being round 5 next week, a non-points special thingy. We're not entirely sure what's going to be on the cards. Last season it was Formula V's at Long Beach. Maybe it'll be something different this time. Yeah,
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think Ken had dropped me a few hints, but certainly we're not going to spoil it for you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to leave you on tenterhooks for that as well. But I know one thing we do need to do, Reese, is thank our sponsors. And if you're anything like me, you remembered this and indeed got it geared up. Certainly that's a subtle hint. Are you good?
Yes, I am good.
Okay, that's good. That makes one of us, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, start it off, Reese, with OG Racing.
Of course, OG Racing, the official motorsports safety gear and equipment supplier to the Washington DC Region SCCA chapter, staffed by racers for racers. OG stocks everything from helmets, driving suits, shoes and gloves, seats, data systems, and top quality brake pads from PFC, Hawk, and Paget. With over 35 years of supporting racers, OG Racing has earned a reputation for providing exceptional customer service in the industry, staffed by an expert team that ensures you have the gear you need to go fast and stay safe. Visit their 1,200 square foot warehouse in Sterling, Virginia.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was indeed OG Racing. Let's take a look at the next one. I'll tell you what, Reese, do the honor, sir.
Okey-doke. Radial Tire Company, since 1976, has proudly served the DC area, providing quality tires and exceptional service. Renowned as the premier specialist in hard-to-find performance tires and wheel applications, they stock tires from top manufacturers, ranging from trucks to sports cars and racing machines. Their mission is to maximize your vehicle's potential on the road and the track. If you're looking for tires, consider Radial Motorsport. We also have RP Performance. For over 30 years, has been at the heart of racing as a neighbor of Summit Point and standing out as the premier race car shop specializing in street and track Mazdas. In addition to track support and transport, RP is a full-service shop helping drivers with their racing and other track event needs. Known for their helpful attitude, RP works diligently to get cars back on track, ensuring a positive experience for all at all Summit Point events. They've also accrued many wins and championships within various classes under the RP Performance banner.
Indeed, we take a look at another sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, Belmont Classic Cars is a family-owned dealership located in Eastern Ohio, specializing in classic American muscle cars from the 1960s and the 1970s. They pride themselves on selling iconic rides and only offer cars they would want to add to their collection. Established in 2017, the owners, Andy and Dana Mistak, inherited their passion for cars from their father. Certainly, I can definitely relate to that one. It drives mum nuts. Indeed, the entire family has been involved in racing from motocross, trophy trucks, and their new endeavor of road racing.
Finally, last but not least, Grand Touring Enterprises is an internationally recognized full-service classic automotive facility located in Frederick, Maryland, with a mission of keeping legends in motion. Their commitment to classic vehicles spans service, restoration, secure climate-controlled storage, sales, and consignment. Grand Touring also offers full collection-level consultation and management services alongside concours-level detailing. Their focus is on preserving the history and prestige of the vehicles they manage and ensuring that the driving experience is equally spectacular and authentic. Head on down to Frederick and check out Grand Touring Enterprises. Concluding the portion of the night where we thank these fantastic partners and supporters of the WDCR region, we should think about qualifying now, because we're seeing once again DJ Alessandrini at the front of the Porsche field. He has come here ready to play, hasn't he? He's a long way ahead of everyone else on pace right now and still setting purple sectors.
Yeah, he's definitely got some pace. It's the Brains podcast machine there, the number 61 of DJ Alessandrini. But this is where it gets really interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at here at the GR86. Just 0.04 of a second between Ken Halthor and indeed Brent Schleekloff. But before we get too excited, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look here at the championship standings heading into this round.
Yes, indeed. DJ Alessandrini has been on a big run recently, but he is still only second place in the Porsche standings, having missed the first round. Jake King is leading by just 2 points. Cooper Van Horn, Jack Chrissy, and Raul Iriarte are, well, along with Mike Leader, only separated by a few points there. And this being still the very early stages of the championship, those points are still quite close. And, well, with multi-class bringing in a bit of chaos, I'm sure these standings are going to jostle around some more.
Certainly, as we have a look here at the GR86, some of the closest racing we've seen here with Colin Denner just 4 points ahead of Michael Montello. Frans Hansen takes third with 50, and then there's a little bit more of a gap, but indeed the battles continue to develop. Paul Darling there in fourth place, absolutely obliterated it last round, I believe, with Jonathan Crane there just 3 points behind with 38. Another name to keep an eye on there is going to be Ken Halsell. He has missed a few rounds, so look at that, incredibly close. 28 points there for Ryan Miller. And if you head down to Brian Taylor, that's 13th place. He's 24. So all the way down, 5 positions, ladies and gentlemen, and not even 5 points.
Very tight indeed. GR86 has provided some incredible racing thus far this season, especially when it comes to battles for the lead. Often there's been a bit more space in the battle for the Porsche win, but still quite an exciting class as well. Well, that's how things are for both of our classes, and now we'll be covering those dying minutes of qualifying. It would appear that we have another figure from the real racing world joining us today. Tom O'Gorman is currently second place in the Porsche class. American racing driver who has competed in many SCCA competitions. He's raced in the Pirelli World Challenge, the Continental Tire Challenge, the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and the Grid Life Touring Cup in a Honda S2000. It's interesting to see him here, and currently on the front row.
Yeah, not surprising, himself and DJ Alessandrini both there on the Lizard Brains podcast. Certainly, we're going to have to maybe get a logo from you guys. But say now, you know, WDCR pretty well sponsored as it is as well. Amy Helsel there in the chat saying, go Ken. I'm inclined to agree. And indeed, go Tomo and DJ. Certainly a huge thank you to them as well. But if you exclude the real world racing drivers, ladies and gentlemen, Wally Hajicek, he's there in third. Adam Kobach as well. Incredibly close competition there. If you look at time between Gorman, Hajicek, and Kobach, it really is just splitting hairs between them there. As you see Kobach there bringing it across the line. Meanwhile, let's see if we can find a driver to go on board with, as it looks like Kobach's going to keep this lap going. Reese, do the honors, sir.
Hard braking into Tamburello at turn 2, and then try your best to avoid the curbs as you make your way through this first chicane. Down the back stretch, it looks like he's going to be abandoning the lap, Zippy. I think we'll need to find someone else to take us to Villeneuve onwards.
We can see Kevin Zhu there getting a I almost thought for a second he might be Tony Hawk. Definitely getting a little bit of airtime off the final chicane there in that portion. Indeed, definitely catching qualifying a little bit on the later side, but certainly a few of these drivers. Actually, DJ Alessandrini, usually one of the last ones out in qualifying here. Certainly, we are going to get plenty of opportunities to see these cars going around the track, but I do have to wonder as well how the Porsches are going to handle the curbs long term. And we do have a cheer here for Adam Kovac for the one and only Zarelev here on Pit Road Productions chat.
Very nicely done. It looks like this is Zhu's, that's the conclusion of Zhu's final lap, so I don't think we're going to be seeing a full lap here either, Zippy. I think Declan Ward's probably the most likely, because he's just about to come across the line, and he still has 1 lap to go on his ticker. So across the line he will come. Super long front stretch here at Imola where you reach speeds in the Porsche approaching 270 kilometers per hour and bounce off the curbs as best as you can at Tamburello there. You got to be careful of those speed bumps at the apexes. They will certainly throw you off. Hard acceleration on the way out. Look for the 50 marker. That's your braking point for the Villeneuve chicane here. And you got to keep your eyes out for the light-colored, green-painted concrete. That's where you can really place the car and extend the exit of these corners. Not there at the exit of Tosa. That is AstroTurf, and it's very slippery. You can push it, but you need to be very careful not to spin up the wheels. Into Piratella, fast left-hander that brings you downhill towards the closest thing you get to the infield of the circuit. This is Acque Minerale, a fast entry, braking and turning at the same time. It's challenging to set up and challenging to get out of. Uphill acceleration means the earlier you get on the power, the better. Then Variante Alta, the final chicane of the lap. You bounce across the curbs completely. That's the fast line through here. Some tarmac runoff on the exit to gather you up if you make a mistake. Then bring the speed up one more time here for the run into Rivazza. The final couple of corners here. Reprofiled a few times over the years, like many of the corners at this track. It is a double left-hander where you really need to keep speed up at the apex, but be careful not to push it too hard on the exit like it seems Declan Ward just did. Slightly compromised speed back onto the start-finish stretch as a result. But that is going to be a major improvement for Declan Ward, a 142.7. That's going to put him P3.
Absolutely cracking lap there from Declan. Indeed, Thomas Lathrop currently doing another lap as well. Certainly myself, I would definitely prefer to be here in the Porsche, and indeed Imola, fantastic circuit as well. But looking through as well, I think I see another new aim and making an appearance. Joe Baijin is not one that I'm familiar with, as is James Shreve there. Definitely a few more drivers sneaking in. Certainly this particular combination here, the 911 Cup and the GR86, proving to be very popular here. We've got a 27 car field potentially.
Yeah, and some good representation in the Porsches as well. I think this is just about the most equal the class numbers have been all season. There's 12 Porsches present in the server and 15 GR86s. So I think we're going to be seeing some good field spread, and the Porsches will certainly have their hands full trying to make their way around the GR86s when they eventually come up to them. But I don't think we're going to be seeing the same frenetic multi-class action that we saw at like Summit Point in the Hungaro Ring, Zippy. This circuit is much more open, much faster, much wider than both of them.
Yeah, certainly I did really enjoy Summit Point. That was one of the fantastic rounds, certainly of the season. I think we're going to have a hard time topping that. But new driver here, Joe Baijin, he's currently there. I've got to say, fantastic choice of livery for the GR86, rocking that a Heritage Golf livery-inspired livery. And I have a feeling, did I see a bit of damage there? No, we're good. We're fine.
No.
We're fine.
That's just the bodywork.
Yep.
Yeah, the GR86 has that sort of lean, mean look to it, doesn't it? Across the line for Joe Badgin then has yet to actually get a time on the board. He's gotten off tracks on every lap so far, and there's no time left in the session, so I think that's going to seal the deal. Just wait a few more seconds for the session to switch over, and we'll be able to go through the grid for round number 4, a 30-minute sprint race here that the drivers will be conducting. No pit stop required. It's DJ Alessandrini on the front row with Jack Chrissy, and Declan Ward has Tom O'Gorman for company on row number 2. Wally Heidercheck has Klaus Wood on row number 3. Adam Kovac and Thomas Lathrop share the 4th row. The top 10 in Porsche rounded out by Kevin Zhu and Cameron Guth, with Ryan Christoph and James Shreve rounding out our 12 Porsche entries in the server.
Taking a look here at the GR86 field. Ken Housel's going to take the charge with Brent Sheekloff, my apologies. It's definitely a little bit of a mouthful there. Fair play to you. You're more exotic than I am. But Colin Denner, he's going to take third place with Anthony Montello alongside him fourth. Franz Hansen, definitely a little bit further back than I'd expect to see him today. He's there in fifth, but very much still in the running with Jeremy Wilson alongside in sixth. Albert Nagar, he's there in 19th with the driver alongside me, Mark McLuey. And further back, ladies and gentlemen, Charles Miller is going to be there in 21st with Louis Alessi in 22nd. Nelson Daniel takes 23rd. Oh, I just realized I've mixed up meeting. Yep, you see what I've done there. Anyway, I'm going overall and I'm reading the wrong bits. You get the idea.
I forgive you.
Yeah, Reese forgives me, but will you, ladies and gentlemen at home? Certainly, I'm multitasking, and obviously that went well. Try this again. Louis Alessi's there in 10th place with Nelson Daniel there in 11th and Sly Stafford in 12th. Kyle Annunziata, good to see him back. He's there in 13th with Antonio Diaz in 14th with Joe Baijin picking up 15th in class.
All right. We have a 27-car field here split across two classes ready to go. And the Porsches pull away then behind the pace car. There will be some space left between the classes here. So we should have plenty of time to consider the race start for the Porsches while the GR86s get their race set up. Looking at who's actually committed to the race start, it would appear that James Shreve has not. So we are one Porsche down. But it looks to me like we have all of our GR86s accounted for, which is good to see.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic field indeed. Pretty evenly split, as you said, 11 Porsches on the grid and indeed 15 GR86s. Honestly, not the way I would expect that to go. I figured the Porsche would have been the more popular choice. Usually the faster car is, but certainly we're going to enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it's great to have such a fantastic community of drivers here, and indeed such a varied skill level as well. There's definitely there's somebody for everybody here in WDCR.
Yeah, the GR86 is one of my favorite classes, and it's good to see great entries for it. Last few Wednesdays, I've had the honor of commentating the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup, which has a real life prize involved in the New Zealand racing scene. But that's going to be by the by. We'll be focusing on the Porsche start for the moment. It's side by side between Alessandri and Chrissy. And we will see who gets the best jump off the green flag here. DJ Alessandrini leads us away across the line, and the green flag flies for round 4 of the Washington DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League. And it's a solid start from Alessandrini, but Jack Chrissy is already under some big pressure from Declan Ward and Tom O'Gorman. O'Gorman on the outside there into turn 1. He'll have to give up the position to Ward. That's a nice, clean move there, sorting out our top 4. Meanwhile, the GR86s seem to be getting going now. There's already some jostling for position happening. Colin Denner has made up 2 positions to get into second, but Housel is going to lead us into turn 1.
Yeah, definitely Colin Denner and himself. He's used to being at the front of this pack, and indeed, it looks like somebody's picked up a yellow flag, and I believe that's Adam Kobach there. He has indeed. That's going to definitely hurt him in the long run, but already we're getting battles happening throughout, and it looks like Charles Miller now starting to apply a little bit of pressure here to Louis Alessi just ahead.
Indeed, GR86 always close. And we've seen only some very minor gains throughout the field, battling at the back meanwhile. L'Annunziata and Diaz side by side. L'Annunziata lets him go through Tosa as Joe Badgin tries to keep up with the rest of the field here. Going to be a lot of pressure on for drivers further at the back of GR86. With how close the racing generally is up the front, you could stand a chance of gaining time on those in front of you if you play your cards right.
Yeah, certainly, if these guys start to battle, you will indeed see a little bit of a shake-up there, but it does appear that Jeremy Wilson are rocking a similar livery there as Ken House. Will certainly have a quick look here. These guys could be teammates, or indeed they both have great taste. Certainly, I don't think it's a case of them wearing the same dress to the prom or anything like that, but, you know, you do you guys, you do you. But indeed, we've got a cheer here for Jack Chrissy as well from Gwendolyn Holzer here in the chat.
Yeah, and no surprise, because Chrissy's doing quite well at the moment. He and Alessandrini have broken away from the rest of the field already. DJ Alessandrini has 1.8 seconds, 2 seconds back to the battle between Declan Ward and Tom O'Gorman for third place. Our top four in Porsche in the same order they started in, but for how long? See how close it's getting behind them there. Klaus Wood getting the run on Declan Ward into Villeneuve and moves up into fourth place. Declan's in trouble now. Wally Heidercheck behind him, getting a good exit out of the chicane.
Yeah, it looks like Wally's going to be able to put a car up on the inside, and that is exactly what we didn't want to have in contact there. And that is another Porsche. That's Kovac there having to take a scenic route. I have a feeling he may have picked up a little bit of damage, but don't hold me to it, ladies and gentlemen. As indeed, this battle is starting to spice up even more. Thomas Lathrop in the middle of these two Porsches. Wally Heidercheck ahead. Kevin Zhu right behind.
And this has induced some chaos here in the Porsche field. Heidercheck now defensive coming into Aquaminerale, but ultimately that's not usually a corner you want to go side by side through, so very smart driving from Lathrop. Didn't try to go for the move there. Jeremy Wilson, meanwhile, has been fighting his way through in 6th place, up behind Franz Hansen, but it appears the top four in GR86 ahead of them are starting to break away. Check in with Nelson Daniel, meanwhile, finding himself in 11th place, up one position. At the moment, all of these drivers have gained a spot or more thanks to Carl Nunziata's issues on the second lap thus far. Declan Ward, meanwhile, in the Porsches has been shuffled all the way back to 8th, and we're about to see why.
Yeah, definitely had I'd say he maybe got the braking wrong. Had a little bit of a gut reaction there, but indeed that would have picked him up a slowdown and just has to go to the side, pull it off and bleed it off. But definitely an unusual incident indeed there for Declan Ward.
Yeah, so that's what triggered the initial battling that we saw when we cut to that fight. But it seems that Declan maybe got the tyres dirty or he was thrown off. In a field as close as this, you make one mistake, it's very easy to get swamped, and Imola's the kind of track where the corners come thick and fast. There's barely any space to rest around here. So makes sense that Ward's been shuffled back a bit. He can try his best to set up a run from here, though. If he gets those tyres up to temp and he avoids those curbs and the chicanes, he might be able to involve himself here again. Wally Heidercheck still holding on to 5th place. One of a few Porsches who actually still occupy the same position they started. That's not the case for Lathrop and Zhu. Once again, Lathrop defensive into Aquaminerale. Zhu's going to have to try and find another way past.
Yeah, I definitely think that Zhu's going to be keeping it honest there indeed. As it looks like Colin Denner's starting to apply a bit of pressure to Ken Halsall as well. We'll check in on that. Should we see a little bit more movement? Certainly we know that Denner will very much tuck under behind the rear wing there. But good news is for Declan Ward, he has managed to catch up back to this pack here as Thomas Lathrop and indeed Kevin Zhu start to fight it a little bit more. In the meantime, Wally Heidercheck starting to pull away.
Yep, poor exit out of the Variante Alta chicane there for Lathrop. But Zhu can't take advantage. Declan Ward certainly can, though. He's a bit closer to them now as they come back onto the start-finish straight. Fastest lap so far for DJ Alessandrini, a 1:42.0. I don't expect anyone's going to beat that anytime soon, at least officially. Jack Chrissy did technically run a faster lap, but because he got an off-track on it, it didn't officially count.
Yeah, certainly I wouldn't be eliminating Chrissy just yet, and indeed he's definitely got pace today. Tom O'Gorman pretty much left in the dust at this point, 5.6 seconds behind, but indeed Thomas Lathrop and Kevin Zhu having the closest battle on the track right now, and I do have to feel very much for Kevin Zhu. He's very close in the middle of this pack. Pogo sticking that Porsche over the sausage curves, and it looks like Declan Ward now going to try and take advantage of that.
Yeah, Zhu saw him coming and left him space, and, well, he's going to translate that into a mammoth run out of Tosa. Fantastic job there at the hairpin. It's one of those corners where if you're on the outside, you can straighten the car up earlier and get a nice launch. So don't despair if someone tries to make a dive on you at those corners. In any case, yeah, we are starting to see space forming in the Porsches. That's not the case for GR86 though. Colin Denner is bump drafting Ken Halsall down at the start-finish stretch, and they're working together quite nicely here. Not entirely free of Schneekloth and Montello though.
Yeah, Montello is definitely no stranger to a bump draft either. He's definitely going to apply a bit of pressure indeed, and we're going to have to see what can happen. This four-pack managed to pull away about 5 seconds over Franz Hansen. He's got Jeremy Wilson right behind him applying a bit of pressure as well.
Nice fighting for P5 here. And yeah, Wilson is running a very similar livery to Ken Housel, but there are a couple of differences. I think Housel's livery has more red on the rear quarters, and it also has a metallic filter to it. Jeremy Wilson, a bit more of a general gloss paintwork there, but still two very nice liveries, which are retro Toyota inspired. Really like seeing that sort of stuff on GR86s. Oh, I've just had a look in Porsche and something's gone wrong for Kevin Zhu. He ran deep at the first chicane, unfortunately. It was just a case of getting onto the grass in the braking zone, and he had to take a tour through the kitty litter, almost taking the original line through the corner.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate there as we turn to this accordion here of GR86. It's certainly Imola really demonstrating the suspension travel here for a pair of these race cars indeed, but certainly some good close racing happening in the GR field. As we take a look here, back with the Porsches, Jack Chrissy still applying a good amount of pressure to DJ Alessandrini.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Alessandrini was able to run qualifying time basically a second faster than Chrissy, 9/10 at the very least. So on single lap pace, Alessandrini had the edge. I was expecting him to pull away, but that's not the case here. Chrissy seems a bit stronger on race pace. The only other possibility is DJ Alessandrini is managing the pace at the front because he knows he might need to save some tyre for those later stages. They've come up on GR86 traffic as well. But there's going to be no issues coming down the start-finish stretch. You do get a good sense for how much of a speed difference there is between the cars, though. Look at how fast they're catching them.
Yeah, certainly. I don't know if that's the favourite place there that DJ Alessandrini would have wanted to pass. Certainly going into turn one, it's a good opportunity for a pass, but definitely did slow him up a little bit there. And I think Chrissy's going to be very concerned as they make their way through the GR86 field. The Castrol Tom's livery there, cutting across a little bit, and indeed, he's going to get stuck behind one of the GR86s now as well. The 55 car, that is going to be... There isn't a 55.
Charles Miller.
Where?
It's Charles Miller. He's in ninth.
Yeah, my bad. I'm looking at the Porsche field for the... I'm just not on it today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a quick... Yeah, a little bit. Let's take a look at the Cookie Monster livery car, the number one here of Declan Ward. He's currently applying even more pressure to the back of Thomas Lathrop.
Yeah, Declan trying to make up positions after his shuffling back. He has made up one position to 7th and maybe trying to size up Thomas Lathrop for something here. Damage to the rear of Declan Ward, though, so that might be altering his car's behavior. And if you're a Porsche, the rear is the most inconvenient place to get damage. That's where all of the drivetrain components of the car are located. But coming up to Variante Alta, just in time for some traffic, this is one of the parts of the circuit where it's going to get tight for multi-class action.
Yeah, certainly that didn't help Louis Alessi there as well. That's going to give Sly Stafford a little bit of an advantage there, trying to get back into the mix. But certainly loving the paint job there. Myself, not really a pop fan, but if I did, Dr. Pepper would be my pop of choice.
I've had it a couple of times. It's certainly an interesting beverage. Franz Hansen then, keeping his fight up here with Jeremy Wilson. Albert Ngo is not too far behind these guys either. He'll be picking up some slipstream from the Porsche, making their way through on them there. I believe O'Gorman making his way through there. This is mighty close. A Porsche getting involved of Klaus Wood in the Flying Lizard scheme, and that's going to break up the battle ever so slightly. I think that Franz Hansen's going to be breathing a small sigh of relief for that. He's got some breathing room now. Got to be careful for Wally Heidercheck coming up behind him. The battle between Jeremy Wilson and Albert Ngo is going to continue here as they've got a trio of Porsches ready to move past them on the run into Tosa. What line do you pick? It gets really difficult here. All of the Porsches going for the outside line there. You've got to try your best to negotiate multi-class traffic cleanly, but there's going to be some compromise here and there.
Yeah, definitely going to have a little bit of a shake-up there, but indeed Thomas Lathrop still able to hold on. But don't get me wrong, what has happened with the traffic is now Adam Kovacs back in the mix as well. We got the freeway fight for the Porsches, and indeed the kitchen is about to get that a little bit hotter as well. The GR86 is currently being led by the number 23 of Ken Housel. He's still not been able to shake Denner, Schliekhoff, or indeed Montello. The four of them are going to duke it out for the rest of this race.
Yep, there they are in the foreground of shot as those Porsches find their way past him. It looks like Klaus Wood has cleared the GR86s nicely, and I think we're going to see Heidechek do the same. It's side by side between Schneekloth and Denner, though. It looks like the lead has gotten larger for Ken Housel with those Porsches making their way through, and now it's a fight for the runner-up position. The Porsches behind won't have anywhere to go here. Where do you go if you're a Porsche? Thomas Lathrop has been boxed in. There's nowhere he can go. Has to take to the painted runoff area. That's compromised his exit. Going to be a freebie for Declan Ward and Adam Kobach, and maybe Kevin Zhu as well.
Well, this race just got even spicier, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly Ken Housel did well out of that, but we got a four-way fight in the Porsches. Thomas Lathrop, Declan Ward, and indeed Kevin Zhu and Adam Kobach. All of these four drivers getting into it now. There's a little bit of slide there from Kobach. He manages to catch it, but in the meantime, huge amount of pressure being applied by the 243 of Kevin Zhu.
The suspension on this Porsche Cup car might as well be made of wood. You make your way over those speed bumps, you see them bouncing so much. It's a very characteristic behavior of Porsche Cup cars, at least in the sim. It's been the case. Denner picking up a slowdown, meanwhile, second place in GR86, could be in trouble for a podium position there if he's not careful. But yeah, I think the curbs here at Imola are really demonstrating the weaknesses in the suspension of the Porsches.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the curves in that final chicane are pretty aggressive, but Colin Denner has managed to shed that penalty. But right now, I actually feel sorry for Ken a little bit. He's got no one to play with, and don't get me wrong, he's just got to run clean laps. But my question is, 2.2 seconds back, will these drivers work together over the next 16 and a half minutes to try and catch the 23 car and indeed apply pressure for the lead? Meanwhile, Jack Crissy applying even more pressure to the back of Alessandrini.
Yeah, ran 0.3 of a second faster on the previous lap. On this lap, we'll see the times come across here. A 42.9 for Alessandrini and a 43.1 for Crissy. So their pace is very well matched at the front here. Evidently qualifying is DJ Alessandrini's strength. Jack Crissy doing a lot better in the race. See them clatter and bounce over those curbs again. That's why you got to avoid those speed bumps at the apexes of the corners. This is a relatively old scan of Imola. It doesn't have the current curbs that the circuit has, so you do need to take a little bit more care across them.
What I can see is Tom O'Gorman has managed to pick up a slowdown flag as well, ladies and gentlemen. Klaus Wood about 2.6, 2.7 seconds back. Is Gorman going to be able to shave off that slowdown flag? And is Klaus Wood going to be able to capitalize on it? I do have a request to check in here on Cameron Goof as well. He appears to be getting into the mix of it, very much so. He's in the Porsche field and trying to make his way past the GR86 field right now. Don't get me wrong, he's got Ryan Christoph to play with as well.
Yeah, Christoph succeeded in making his way past Guth there. Some nice advantage taken of the multi-class traffic as they pass by the battle. We'll see how he ended up doing it there. It looks like Cameron Guth was just biding his time until the exit of Tamburello to get past the GR86s, and Ryan Christoph said, okay, you're going to do that, I'm going to make my way past you.
Well, indeed, looks like we're getting a little bit more of a spicy battle here. Anthony Montello now managed to find his way past Brent Schliekloff. And indeed, I don't think Schliekloff's going to take it laying down in 5,645 iRacing. This guy is no slouch, but Ken Housel just then, he picked up a slowdown as well. Don't get me wrong, he's still got that 2.6, 2.7 second lead ahead of Denner, Montello, and Schliekloff. But certainly a few more of those, and you may find that lead very quickly disappear. Meanwhile, though, let's check back in with the battle between Declan Ward, Thomas Lathrop, Adam Kobach, and indeed Kevin Zhu. The four Porsches absolutely duking it out.
Oh, Lathrop deep in Ravazza too, and he's going to fall to the back of the pack here. Adam Kobach right there to take advantage, and across the line they will come. Let's compare some lap times here. They've been running consistent low 144s, but Kobach and Zhu into the 143s on that lap. Very nice to see. Lathrop, though, is going to try and pressure Zhu here to try and get that position back, but on the outside into Tamburello doesn't usually work, so it looks like he'll just yield for the time being. Declan Ward isn't really enjoying this fight, I'm sure, because he is streaking away from them there.
Yeah, very much so. Despite the fact he picked up a little bit of damage there, down 3 positions on the day, he's without a doubt, he's got some pace here. And on paper, in theory, you know, he probably shouldn't be quite as high as he is. Certainly, Wally Heidechek, 3,100 and 67 IR. But right now, on last lap, he is indeed got the advantage there. On best lap, though, himself and Declan Ward separate by just 0.04 of a second.
Yes, indeed. Solid pace from everyone here. Checking back in with the fight for second in GR86. Colin Denner still holds on to it here, but Montello and Schneekloth are starting to get into it. Let's see what they do coming through Villeneuve. The GR86 used to be a bit of a death trap over high curbs. It would roll quite easily due to its high center of gravity, but that center of gravity has been lowered in the sim recently, and tire updates have also altered the car's behavior, so these cars can monster those curbs as much as they like. New fastest lap, by the way. Jack Chrissy set a 141.6.
Yeah, he's got Alessandrini beat there by about 7/100ths of a second. Indeed, he continued to apply pressure. But speaking of pressure, we are indeed going to return to this battle here in the GR86 field. We've got about 12 and a half minutes to go, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling these guys are going to be duking it out the entire time.
Yeah, this is looking like a fantastic fight. And the gap for Ken Housel is just continuing to increase here. You know, I would have thought that with the long start-finish stretch here, we'd be seeing a bit more bump drafting and gaining time on the straights from this group, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Apparently, clean air is king here at Imola, and Ken Housel's taking great advantage.
Yeah, looking at the lap times as well, his last one was a 2:01.42. Not actually the fastest in the GR86 field. That goes to Frans Hansen. He did a 2:01 flat, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly, if he continues that, he may be able to catch up with his pace. But certainly at 8/10 of a second per lap, he's going to need a little bit more of the fight here between these three drivers of Denner, Montello, and Schleekloff.
Yes, these guys, their ultimate fastest laps in the high 159s. So there's a good potential for pace here as Montello pulls out and chooses the outside line for the run into Tamburello. Oh, as close as you like between these two now. Brent Schneekloth is probably going to get 2 freebies here if things go his way, but it looks like just enough momentum from the cars ahead to stay ahead in the end. On the wipers, I'm sure those windscreens are going to be getting very dirty with how close they're running. Not the best run out of the chicane there for Denner. He's going to go defensive versus Montello, and he'll have the option of getting to the apex first, but Montello, late apex, straight exit. He's going to try and get him back a Piratella.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought he was going to indeed follow the instructions on the back of that car and give it a little bit of a bump drop, but Ken Housel pulling even further away. Frans Hansen starting to close in at times as well. Certainly, I had a feeling that we was going to see 3 wide going through that corner just then. I'm actually disappointed they didn't try it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there'll be 3 wide down the start-finish stretch at some point if the race continues being this close. Very nice fighting between our final spots on the podium in GR86. There also may be a battle forming for 3rd place in Porsche as well. Tom O'Gorman has been keeping the pace up reasonably, but Klaus Wood has been starting to make tracks on him. Was 2 seconds faster than O'Gorman on the last lap. I think there may have been a slowdown involved there, and O'Gorman has traffic.
Yeah, certainly this could indeed spice things up a bit, ladies and gentlemen. You can see there, that is 1.6 seconds he gained on lap 11. Certainly keeps doing that. He is going to find the likes of Klaus Wood right behind him. Not only that, I think Klaus Wood is currently leading, if I remember rightly. He's leading the 911 Cup standings. So certainly, yeah, definitely not a driver to be messed with by any means.
I believe that's Chrissy that's leading. No, Jake King. Jake King is the one leading the standings there. Yeah, Jake King not here today. So this may well end up being a drop round for him. But we'll keep an eye on who's actually in the session as the fight continues here between Ryan Christoph and Cameron Guth. No, we're looking at Lathrop and Zhu here, my apologies. The battle for 8th place. That's a nice exit for Lathrop. It looks like Zhu matching him quite well. We'll see how strong the slipstream is there as the fight between Cameron Guth and Ryan Christoph continues. They're crawling through Variante Alta there, but a change for 10th.
Yeah, definitely these guys are duking it out, and it's great to see there is somebody for everybody here in the WDCR field. Certainly some good battles indeed. As you see, Thomas Lathrop now applying even more pressure here, or at least having pressure applied from Kevin Zhu. Further back, though, the GR86 is side by side yet again. Is Montello and Denner. All Schleekloff can do at this point is watch.
All right, up the inside there for for Colin Denner. He's trying to stay defensive here versus Montello. Coming into Aqua Minerale. First time I've seen cars go side by side through here. Tap the brakes, off the brakes, and then back on again for the run into the corner. Look at the run from Schneekloth. Oh, can he take advantage?
Door closed.
Oh, man. Bit of razzle-dazzle there from Montello. He's making his intentions clear. He wants that second place. This battle is so tight, it's actually ended up spacing out the Porsche lead battle for a brief moment. Jack Chrissy did lose time to DJ Alessandrini, making his way past that pack. But looks like the battle has closed back up again. Potentially Alessandrini's just cruising out the front at the moment. He wouldn't mind a battle with Chrissy for the win.
Well, certainly, I did just see that Cameron Goof had picked up a slowdown, so could this be an opportunity here for Ryan Christoph to try and recover here? He's within drafting range. He's about 0.8 of a second back, and indeed, these guys have been duking it out for the entire race, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic battling indeed. The Porsche field, though, in terms of positions moved, not really a lot to say. Just Declan Ward being down 3 positions. He's currently about 1.3 seconds back behind Wally Heidechek and approaching fast, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, let's take a look here at the lap time comparison and just verify.
Yeah,
he's
so,
closing in.
oh yeah, absolutely. This is going to be getting quite interesting here, but Heidechek stuck between those GR86s, and
here we go.
Yeah, here we go indeed. Declan Ward making up time. Someone's off there. Is that Schneekloth? It's Schneekloth. Brent Schneekloth in the gravel.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, something has gone very wrong there in the battle for second, and it was contact from Montello at Villeneuve.
Oh, that was definitely unfortunate. I thought I saw Franz Hansen dipping a wheel in the sand and thought nothing of it, but certainly nope, that is definitely not the way that they did wanted that to go. As it looks like Mark McCleary now, he's getting into a battle with Albert to go.
Yep, this is now the highest fight in GR86 for 7th and 8th. Denner and Montello are certainly going to resume their battle soon, but for the moment, we'll see these guys duking it out. Unfortunately, tow back to the pits for Brent Schneekloth, and it looks like Cameron Guth has done the same thing in the Porsches. So if you're here gunning for Guth, bad news for you. He's ended up getting into the wall at Tamburello. Once again, the instability over the curbs of this car claiming quite a few victims.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he picked up a bit of damage there, and yep. But like I say, that car is bought.
Not ideal. And may well end up being a retirement at this stage if he's unable to get back out there. Anthony Montello picking up a black flag. I believe that's for the incident limit, potentially. He's had to take a drive through pit lane, and that is going to effectively end any battle for those top 3 positions in GR86. There's a few seconds between our top 3 now. Question is, where's Montello going to come out? Mark McLuey and Albert Ngo's battle gets by him there, and it looks like Montello's going to come out in no man's land all on his own.
Yeah, it's definitely not what he had in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, that's a little bit more dust being kicked up. Who's that now? Oh, that's, I know who that is. That's Joe Baijin.
Oh, yes. He's had a couple of off-track excursions here. Ooh. And, trying his best to keep the speed up. Been keeping an eye on as we check back in the battle here with Adam Kobach and Thomas Lathrop. Anthony Montello actually typed out an apology to Brent Schneekloth while he was touring through pit lane. He just said that whole interaction was so odd, and for Schneekloth's credit, he took it in his stride, said it's all good. So it looks like there's going to be an all-right conclusion to all of that, but we'll keep an eye on this battle. And we've actually had quite a few fights emerge in Porsche. We still have the battle for the lead on. Then there's Heidechek versus Ward, and then this one, Kobach, Lathrop, and Zhu. Basically, the entire top 10 in Porsche is up for contention right now, with 4 minutes still to go.
Yeah, definitely some interesting battles going on indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, we've still got Albin to go, and indeed Mike McCleary duking it out for P5 in the GR86 class as well. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But certainly Chrissy there, he's been hot on the heels of Alessandrini, but you have to wonder, can he find any more pace out of that car? The best lap between them now, currently separated by 0.04 of a second.
Yes, very close pace between Alessandrini and Chrissy. It has been for pretty much the whole race. O'Gorman getting a slowdown, which hasn't been cleared yet I'm getting a little bit concerned for Tom O'Gorman there. That yellow flag's been stood by his name for quite some time. If he doesn't serve it in time, he'll get a black flag, but I think he might have just cleared it, just in time for Klaus Wood to arrive back on the scene in the battle for third.
Yeah, definitely some interesting battles going on indeed. Klaus Wood currently up 2. He's a hard charger in that Porsche field and indeed a potent driver nonetheless. Definitely got some good championship points behind him. O'Gorman representing Ireland on this occasion, ladies and gentlemen. He's currently up there. 3,392 iRacing. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean all that much depending on how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, a lot of people who run leagues will have a completely neutral iRating, and there can definitely be a wolf in sheep's clothing. Certainly a picking of actually Jack Minter would be a good example of that from a league we also broadcast here on Pit Road Productions.
Yeah, indeed. iRating is not the be-all, end-all. It can provide clues as to how successful a driver has been in officials, but the numbers don't tell the story of pace. Albert Ngo, meanwhile, side by side with Mark McLuey, will make the pass on the run up to Piratella.
Nice.
That's a change for 5th in GR86, and it looks like the move will be completed on the way in, and Albert can put himself in a nice defensive position for Aqua Minerale. Good time to be making these kinds of moves. The front of the Porsche field only has 1.5 laps remaining, so we're rapidly reaching the checkered flag.
Yeah, well, that came quick. I wasn't ready for that. Certainly TJ Alessandrini there. This is the point as well where you have to wonder, do you want the leaders to pass you or not? Certainly, if you're duking it out in the GR86 field, you know, if you're ahead, yeah, you would want the leaders to pass. But right now, the biggest battles going on in GR86 is indeed between Albert Ngo and Mark McLuey. Not only that, Anthony Montello now starting to catch up to the back of this pack. He may indeed be able to recover and indeed still be on a positive gain from where he started.
Yeah, potentially. We'll have to wait and see on that. It's going to be 2 laps to go, I believe, for the GR86s, depending on how fast DJ Alessandrini catches them, though. May end up being the final lap. A spin for Lewis Alessi, and it looks like the Dr. Pepper machine towing back to the pit lane. That's unfortunate, especially considering there wasn't much damage on that car, if any. Well, Albert versus Mark versus Anthony in the battle for 5th. It's going to continue into turn 1, but apparently Mark McLuey not too keen to run up the inside at Tamburello.
Yeah, definitely a very mild-mannered driver from what I've seen so far, and indeed I have a feeling he's going to have to put on a defensive game here if he wants to keep the 268 of Anthony Montello right behind him. Certainly Anthony rocking a different paint this week as well. We have refreshed him, and it hasn't updated, but I do remember the blue and yellow quite distinctively, so certainly not quite sure what's happening there, but we are going to return to the battle here in the Porsches as Tom O'Gorman has not been able to shake Klaus Wood.
Certainly hasn't. This is the highest battle in the field for overall position. DJ Alessandrini has jetted away from Jack Chrissy in the last lap or so. I think there might have been a problem for Chrissy. So now Klaus Wood sees Tom O'Gorman ahead of him and will do his utmost here to carry as much speed as he can through these corners, bouncing off the curbs and the speed bumps. What kind of pace difference are we going to see between these two? They're very close. O'Gorman is wide in the hairpin, but translates it into a nice exit, and it looks like he'll be leaving Klaus Wood in the dust for the time being, but they still have over half the lap remaining. It's certainly on here in the Porsche class, but up the front, DJ Alessandrini is noticing a gap that he is quite used to at this point. 4 seconds and rising is the gap for the lead, and it's another lights to flag victory here for DJ Alessandrini. Just one more acceleration to come, and he is full throttle to the line, and that's going to be DJ Alessandrini taking the championship lead out of this round with the win at Imola.
I've got to say, fair play to Jack Chrissy. He definitely made him work for it for the longest of times and takes a very well-deserved second place. So we're going to return him back to the battle here for 3rd place overall and indeed 3rd in class as Klaus Wood. He's about half a second back. I don't think he's going to be quite close enough to apply the pressure here. Definitely not. Indeed, well defended by Gorman as he's going to take the final spot on the podium.
Lovely stuff from the real-world driver there. Tom O'Gorman takes 3rd and Klaus Wood takes 4th. Heidecek and Ward have still been fighting, but it looks like some good spacing between them on the final lap. Same between Kobach and Lathrop. And Kevin Zhu and Ryan Christoph will be our last finishers in the Porsche class. Up the front of GR86, meanwhile, Ken Housel has enjoyed a lead of about 10 seconds here for the last few laps. All of the fighting and various slowdowns and penalties for incident limits has really set back everyone else in class. Ken's just been minding his own business up the front, and it's worked out.
Yeah, I think they might have happened to Kevin Zhu near the end of that race as well. Got him having a little bit of an off-track excursion, and yeah, a couple of them actually, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. Certainly wasn't the race that he was looking for. Indeed, he was very much in the pack there with Adam Koback and Thomas Lathrop. But I gotta say, Ken, he's had a really good race. He's had pace today as well. Certainly looking at the best lap times. I was going to say that can't be right, 1:45. Indeed, his best lap had not actually been the fastest Denner there, able to get into the 59s, as indeed was the driver Anthony Montello as well. Ken, 2-minute flat, so fair play to him. But you know what, he's looked pretty good doing it. Definitely love this this livery. It's a combination of old meets new, and indeed loving the chrome. But fair play to him, a nice solid win here at Imola.
Yes, lovely stuff from Ken Housel. Colin Denner, meanwhile, takes second place in GR86, and it looks like pretty much everyone else in class was already behind the Porsche field when they crossed the line. So very quickly we find our way to the results going official, and it's bad news for Anthony Montello and for Kevin Zhu with black flags late in the race. I think that's jigged around where they actually classified, but we'll wait and see. Alessandrini, nearly 5 seconds the gap for the win there. Chrissy and Tom O'Gorman will round out your podium. Klaus Wood and Wally Heidecek are your top 5. Declan Ward back up to P6 in the end. Certainly wasn't the easiest race for him. Adam Koback, Thomas Lathrop and Kevin Zhu, despite all of their fighting, finish in the exact same order they started, with Ryan Christoph rounding out the top 10. Cameron Guth retiring, unfortunately, and James Shreve not taking to the start at all.
Fair play to Cameron, though. He did have a great battle there with Ryan Christoph. But let's take a look here at the results for GR86. A good solid win there by Ken Housel, with Amy Housel taking a little bit of the credit there. It's all the reference laps I've been making him do. Well, fair play. I wish you'd make me do some reference laps, because certainly I could do with having the pace that Ken Housel's got. Indeed, he takes the win by about 11 seconds over Colin Denner, with Franz Hansen in third. Good climb through the field there for Franz. Jamie Wilson, not really a super familiar name, but definitely a good result for him. He's there in fourth, with Mark McClure in fifth. Alvin Agote, he takes 6th place with Charles Miller in 7th. Antonio Diaz in 8th with Nelson Daniel in 9th. And Anthony Montello definitely getting penalised by that black flag in 10th. Sly Stafford took 11th with Kyle Annunziata in 12th. Louis Alessi, the Dr. Pepper machine, did indeed have a little bit of a pop. He was in 13th with Joe Bergin, new driver here today. He's in 14th with Brent Schugloff. Definitely the most unfortunate, but great sport in etiquette there. He was there rounding out your 15-car GR86 field.
Well, it's time to chat to some of our drivers, and I'll leave it up to you, Zippy, who to drag in first. I will take them. It is DJ Alessandrini who's with us, our Porsche winner once more. Congratulations on the victory, DJ, but things were a bit closer than we expected between yourself and Chrissy for most of that.
Yeah, Jack brought it. I'd say this is probably one of my faster tracks too, so Jack staying right there. Yeah, that was exciting. I felt the pressure, which was fun. So yeah, that was a good time. Obviously, the GR86s, they're sometimes they're not even a chicane on this track. Sometimes it's like it's not even worth going side by side with them. So you're kind of just sitting behind them. So I felt a little lucky that Jack made some mistakes near the end of that race, because I caught a 3-pack into Aqua Minerale, and I was like, I can't be next to any of these people as I drive through here. So, but I had some time to bleed. But if Jack was there, it would have been a knife fight. I don't know who would have came out of that one.
Yeah, indeed. It was great battling between the two of you. The curbs around this circuit, they really play havoc with the Porsche suspension. I think every Porsche driver had some issue with pogoing and porpoising through some of these chicanes.
Yeah, you really have to have the weight really balanced when you land. If the car's a little out of shape at all, when you get airborne to when you land, the car just really gets unhappy. There was one point in the race where, because I was trying to, in the last chicane, I was trying to hit all the curbs with all 4 tires, and at one point I hit it with just the left side, and the thing almost flipped on me, and it took I don't know, like 1.3 seconds for me to gather the car back up, and then Jack was right there again. So Yeah, it's it was nice having Jack be really quick this week, because anytime I made a mistake, I was reminded that I should do better.
Well, in any case, you did the best of everyone today. A win for you once again here at Imola, DJ, and you're going to continue the momentum forward. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll be seeing you next week, hopefully.
Yep.
All right, DJ Alessandrini, the winner of the ball class here. Zippy, I understand you've had a chance to catch up with Jack Chrissy.
Well, I got to say, Jack, definitely you had incredible pace today. Started P2. And for the majority of that race, definitely giving Alessandrini a good run for his money. What happened near the end, though? What sort of caused you to fall back that a little bit?
Tire. It's just consistency. I think the rears were starting to fall off a little bit. You get some kitty litter on the track, the car starts sliding around a bit, and overuse the rears. Just tire fall off and consistency fall off. So.
Well, definitely, I've got to take my hat off to you. Certainly, Imola, one of my favorite tracks, but the pace you demonstrated today, absolutely incredible. And a good opportunity at some points as well. But we have indeed got a special event next week. I'm not quite sure it is, and we're not going to ask you, but certainly, if you do know, how do you think it's going to go for you, the driver of the number 6?
I have no clue what it is. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's going to be fun. I mean, these guys always put on something fun for these kind of off weeks, and it's going to be some cars that we don't normally drive, so it'll be a nice little change of pace.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But Jack, definitely a valiant effort here, taking on a real-world racing driver at that, and doing quite an incredible job as well. Definitely, you know what? Some people would frown upon second. In my mind, you definitely took a win there in my own book. That was a hell of a battle, and you should go home feeling proud today. But certainly, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the driver of the number 6. Fantastic performance here, Jack Chrissy.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm very happy. So I appreciate everything, and thanks for the awesome broadcasts.
Thank you, Jack.
Indeed. Thanks very much, Jack Chrissy, for joining us. We are now joined by Ken Housel, who ended up taking a dominant victory in the end in GR86, but it wasn't that simple at the start, was it, Ken?
Yeah, no. That was... This track is probably one of the toughest on the calendar in regards to trying to get away with draft, and I could run those lap times all race, but I knew that so could everybody else if they were in my draft, and they sure could. It was like I was hoping nobody was going to make a move and make me really have to work for it. And then things sort of got unlucky for them with traffic, and then I had a little bit of a gap and put my head down and went 10/10 to try to build the gap and keep them out of draft, and it worked. And then they just battled each other, and I just sort of drove around.
Well, in the end, a 10-second victory for you here at Imola, and we wanted to ask you a couple of questions about next week's event. Obviously, 2 special events scattered throughout the season here now for WDCR. Can you give us any clues as to what we can expect in 7 days' time?
It's a great question. DJ suggested we do Miatas at Donington, which I don't hate that idea. So that could be
wait. Is it Donington National or Donington GP? Because Reese knows what I'm going to say.
Well, I don't know what you're going to say, but DJ suggested National. So
yes,
good.
Attaboy.
Good.
Yes,
that is the correct answer.
Yeah. We support this motion.
I certainly think, Ken, that with that kind of event on hand, the GR86 drivers are going to have a bit of an easier time adapting to the MX-5. It's very similar to the GR86.
Yes and no. The Miata is similar pace, a little bit slower, much more draft-heavy racing, but it is... If you make a mistake on entry, you're losing a lot of time with a big slide, or you're dying. So it's a little more finicky, a little twitchier than the 8.6, but the racing is really, really good. So I think that's probably what we'll do, just because that sounds fun.
Lovely stuff. Well, thanks very much, Ken, for having a chat to us. We'll certainly be checking in with you next week. Congratulations on the win. While we have a moment, we'll have a chat to Colin Denner as well, who managed to finish second in GR86. It was a bit of a tough one, Colin. Spaced out the battle at the end, but you had a great time of things today.
Oh yeah, the racing was a ton of fun. Huge shout out to Anthony and Brent for keeping it clean the whole time. That race would not have happened if they didn't keep it clean. It was a huge fight. I think we did have the pace to catch Ken. Had we not fought, I mean, he got a pretty good gap with like 15 minutes left, 16 minutes left, and if we had sacked up, I think we could have inched forward towards him and got him towards the end. But besides that, it was a ton of fun. Great battle. And I had 13 out of my 14 incident points used up, so it was.
Ooh.
I was clenching my butt towards the end, but we managed to bring it home.
Yeah, lucky escape from the dreaded drive-through there, Colin. Big thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the second place finish. Hopefully we'll be seeing you again next week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, that's our driver interviews concluded. Zippy, once again, MX-5s at Donington Park. I think that's a great choice for a special event. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic choice. Certainly myself, a big fan of Donington National, but I have just sent Ken a little request, so I have to see if it unfolds. But think of it as a multi-class of two very underestimated cars, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly the Miata is one of them, and Reese, I'm sure you can guess the second as well. But we'll keep it on the spoilers for now, ladies and gentlemen. But it's absolutely been a pleasure, as always, to be here with WDCR, the SCCA Virtual Racing League as well, fueling motorsports passion since 1948. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and I've been joined in the booth today by the one and only Mr. Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner. Huge part of the pit road production furniture here. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and be sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We hit the 1,000. Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day to PRP. But indeed, we're not going to be stunned there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's aim for 1,500 now. Certainly, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you soon, and we'll be back next week for a special event here with WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League.